In today's episode, you'll learn how to do infills after around 3 weeks, how much product to remove, and what to do in case of cavities and broken nails.
Hi, I'm Connie, and this is a channel dedicated to the art of nail styling. Today, we're going to be talking about all the technical stuff. Our stylist will be taking care of nail infills, nail correction, and nail filing.
To dehydrate the natural nail plate, we'll use purple cleaner. We'll apply acid-free primer, rub in the perfect base coat, and build up the nails with Easy Shape Light Rose Gel. For the colour, we'll use the mineral base coat in blush. We'll remove cuticles with a No. 9 bit and scissors. We'll buff the surface with a 180 to 220 buffer, and to remove the product, we'll use the Indigo Carbide No. 8. To work on the underside of the nail, we'll use Indigo Carbide No. 7. We'll apply the gel with a No. 4 brush. And we'll use the Master Nail Art 007 brush to create the light line and even out the gel surface. We'll shape it with a 100 to 180 file. And we'll use our soft cupcake brush to clean the excessive nail dust.
To remove the gel product, we'll use a bit with a blue or green rim. For example, the Indigo Carbide No. 2, 3, or 8. We also have a bit coated with an infinity layer. It's like a power saw for manicures. Quick and effective, but it can also be dangerous in a rookie's hands. That's why it shouldn't be the first bit you ever work with. Once you feel comfortable with nail work, it's worth trying Infinity as it really speeds up the process.
Our client has been hard at work with her hands for the past 3 weeks. As a result, the top coat layer has become sallow and scratched. The product on the free edge has worn away and the cuticles are ragged and chewed up. The thumb lacks the edge and there's some product missing. In case of the thumb, we'll be deciding if we can fill it in or if we're constructing it from scratch. First step, as always, is disinfecting the hands, putting on disposable gloves and disinfecting our client's hands. While doing infills, we'll remove the old colour, apex and the potential air pockets. We work with Indigo Carbide No. 8 at a speed of 20 to 25,000 RPM. The bit should be held parallel to the surface of the nail. We remove the old colour in a continuous movement from top to bottom.
When shortening the nails, we direct the tip of the bit gently at an angle towards the fingertip. That's how we minimise the vibrations. What's more, we remember to keep the elbows and the working hand on the desk, thanks to which we'll feel more secure and gain more control while e-filing. The choice is yours. You can start from the nail plate and finish off with the cuticles, or the other way around. Start with the cuticles and then work on the nail plate. In this procedure, you decide and the sequence is your choice.
We create the initial shape with a 100 to 180 file and mattify the natural plate. At this stage, we also work on the edges and lift them up. We keep the file straight against the growth of the natural plate, shaping a gently scooped tip.
At this stage of the manicure, the nails are too flat, and that's why we'll be building them and forming the apex in a moment. Now, remember about moderation. If you put too much product on the free edge, the line will end up being too thick.
We can't save the thumb. The fracture reaches up to half the length of the natural nail. So, in this case, we start removing the old product and building it up anew. We shorten the nail with a firm grip on the client's finger and a stable posture. Never work in the air. We shorten at an angle towards the fingernail. Then we remove the old gel polish. We don't work on one area with the bit to avoid heating up the nail. We can also use Carbide No. 8 at the cuticles because it's equipped with a rounded tip. For safety, we leave around 1 mm of the product and remove the rest with a file. We remove the old product from the remaining 3 nails off camera.
Now we move on to shortening the nails. Regardless of whether we're shortening them or building them up, we have to follow certain rules. Well, we don't really have to, but we should, as there are actually some standards in the world of nail art and manicure. There are 2 scenarios. The first says that the index finger, ring finger, and middle finger are the same length, whereas the pinky finger is 1 mm shorter and the thumb is 1 mm longer than the first 3. The second one says that the index finger and middle finger are the same length, whereas the ring finger and thumb are 1 mm longer. It's not easy to say all this without making a mistake, let alone showing it just the ring finger. I mean, if you don't believe me, just give it a try yourself.
Using a No. 9 bit on the cuticles, working at a speed of 12 to 15,000 rotations with a sweeping motion from left to right, We push back the cuticles and get rid of the epithelium from the natural plate. We work with 1/3 of the bit surface at an angle. Working with a bit directed upwards is a mistake. The head of the bit should always be directed towards the nail fold. Never work for too long in the same area to avoid creating grooves and holes in the nail plate. We cut off the cuticles with scissors. The lower blade should be directed perpendicular to the natural plate. We even out the cuticles with a 180 to 220 buffer and in a sweeping motion backwards towards the client's hands. First, work with the 180 side and then move to add the finishing touches with the 220 side. If the cuticles are stronger and harder, we can use the cuticle number 5 bit and working at the speed of 6,000 RPM. We additionally even out the dried sides. We use a sweep motion backwards and then change the direction of the rotation and even out the second half. Do watch out to avoid touching the nail plate with the bit. We work only on the cuticles. Remove any excess dust with a soft brush.
Our stylist removed the cuticles before building the nails. Now, you probably noticed on this channel that different educators use different methods. It is often said that cuticles should be removed once the nails are ready to minimize the risk of spoiling your work. Now, our stylist does it a bit differently. From the very beginning, she teaches her students very delicate and mindful movements. Now, of course, there's always a risk that beginners can break the skin, but once they learn how to file without using force, they minimize the risk of potential wrist injuries later, after a few years or several years of intense work. Now, bear in mind that it can happen to you someday with forceful filing.
We prepare the thumb for the extension. We shorten the free edge of the nail with a 100 to 180 file, as short as possible in a rounded shape. We remove the remaining old product that was left on for safety reasons. If we want to check if there's some product left on the nail or whether it's already the natural plate, we wipe the nail with purple cleaner. The shiny area means that there's still some product, and matte areas means that it's the natural plate. We apply acid-free primer to the entire natural plate without flooding the cuticles. Then a bit of perfect base and rub it in with the number 4 gel brush. We cure it in the multi-LED lamp for 60 seconds.
Too much sometimes makes you go astray. And that's exactly what happens with perfect base. We can't use too much of it. We also cannot forget about rubbing it into the nail, as otherwise it may lead to unwanted air pockets. Remember that all base coats should be rubbed in with moderation, well enough to see the grooves that appear when buffing the nail.
The thumb has a delicate natural apex. That's why we'll be following the highest point when placing the form and shaping the final length. We try placing the form and assess how to cut it out. We can see that the nail is symmetrical, so the cut will be symmetrical too. We cut the form out away from the nail. It will be pretty difficult to do if the form is placed against the nail. We check if it fits. If there is still space between the form and the nail, we need to make a deeper cut. We place the form, glue down the lower wings and close the form at number 5. We'll be building the nail up to number 3. We cut the form at the sides, making space for the fingertips. Thanks to these cuts, the tunnel comes to life on its own accord. Once we start building with gel, we won't need the tweezers. We build the frame with the Easy Shape Light Rose Gel. Placing a small ball of product on top of number 3, marking the final length, we spread the gel up to the top to the free edge of the natural plate. We're trying to apply it only to the free edge. If we do apply too much to the nail plate near the frame, we remove the excess by wiping it from top to bottom with a brush. The frame should be as thick as the natural plate. We cure it in the lamp for 60 seconds. We then place the thumb in the lamp straight so that it cures evenly. We remove the form by applying pressure to the sides with our fingers and peel off the upper perforation. Apply pressure under the nail and pull it down. We then apply a small amount of Easy Shape Light Rose Gel onto the frame to create a slip layer. We take up a large ball of product, place it halfway down the natural plate, and in a pulsating motion push it up towards the cuticles, creating an apex. Next, we spread the product by placing the brush flat and in a zigzag motion, moving right and left, directing the brush down towards the free edge. If we apply a proper amount of product, we reach the end of the free edge. If we have less product on the brush, we leave it where it ends and add another small ball of product. We dip the brush vertically in the product and spread it vertically against the nail plate across the whole surface of the nail. We avoid creating grooves in the gel and try to make it as even as possible. As a result, it will require less filing.
When doing infills, when the base or the frame is almost ready, we apply products such as acid-free primer or a regular primer and the base coat, only to the natural plate, which is the part that has just grown back.
We dehydrate the nail with purple cleaner, apply acid-free primer, apply a bit of perfect base, and rub it in with brush number 4. We then cure in the lamp for 60 seconds. Next, we apply a small amount of Easy Shape Light Rose gel to create the slip layer. Then we apply a ball of product, spread it in the apex area, and in a pulsating movement, push the product under the cuticles. We build the apex and spread the remaining part of the product down towards the free edge. Cure it all in the lamp for 60 seconds. With a 100 to 180 file, we shape and work on the apex, resting the file on the cuticles and filing at an angle. We then move down. Afterwards, we work on the product around the cuticles, gently without using force. We file the areas that are shiny from the sides towards the center and remove any excess nail dust with the cupcake brush. We place the file from the free edge to the apex, parallel to the nail, and file without detaching the tool from the surface. We work on the thickness of the free edge. When working on the thumb, we keep the file perpendicular to the width of the natural plate and create an almond shape. We work on the apex by always holding the file perpendicular to the surface, and we keep it at an angle at the cuticles, file straight, moving downwards. Next, we work on the product at the cuticles, gently without using any force. We even out the side walls from bottom to top in a semicircular motion. The edges have to start at the widest point. In order to get deeper with the file, it's best to use a metal one. We even out the hairline and the upper surface by keeping the file parallel to the nail. We file towards the side without detaching the file until the surface turns smooth and even. Remove any excess dust with a soft brush.
Our model wants a natural look manicure, and that's why we use a mineral base for the finishing touches. We love this product not only for its stunning shades, nudes, but also for the speed of work. And that's because it's a 3-in-1. Base coat, shade, and top coat packed into one layer. Everything can be done quickly, and it shines nicely and looks great. Women love it, and we do as well.
We wipe the nails with wipe-off cleaner to get rid of the residue dust and any potential impurities. Before applying the base coat, we gently push back the cuticles using a cuticle pusher. Then, using a mineral base, trying to reach under the cuticles with the brush, we apply a very thin layer to avoid creating the so-called bun, when the nail starts growing back and everything looks pretty sloppy. Without curing, we add a bit more of the product and even out the light line with the Master Nail Art 007 brush.
When doing infills, we can't forget about the underside of the nails. First, there's a tiny pocket that has to be removed, and secondly, the free edge will probably be slightly too thick and we'll have to work at it with a bit, so that everything is smooth and pleasant to the eye. This treatment can be done while you're shaping the nail, but also at the end of the manicure.
When working on the underside of the nail, we use Indigo Carbide bit number 7 and Carbide bit number 6. We work at a speed of 25,000 RPM. Gently from right to left, changing the rotation of the E-file if we want to work in the other direction. And that's what the nails look like after the infills.
And that's the end of our episode. Let us know in the comments whether you prefer doing infills or building the extension from scratch. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye!